alive. It's alive. It's alive!
So I did something kind of interesting. If you're reading the title, you already know what I did, but let me do this. So have any of you seen the 2004 Hugh Jackman Van Helsing movie? If you have, you'll know that there's some cool parts to it, but overall, it kind of sucks. It kind of just feels like a Saturday morning cartoon at times. It doesn't hit the right notes at the right time. There's a little bit too much comedic entertainment for my liking. The CGI is kind of hard to look at. It's just, overall, it's a watchable movie, but it's not an amazing movie. Except for the beginning. Anytime I watched this movie, I would always watch it for the very beginning. I love the opening to this film. It starts off in black and white. It takes place on the night Frankenstein creates his monster, and it's this great intro, setting the right atmosphere and mood to this story. And it's all done in Universal Studios Monsters black and white. And it is incredible. Hands down, anytime I talk to someone about this movie, it's the best part of the movie. By far. Everyone agrees to that. And then it jumps forward a year to Paris, and it's in color, and the movie just kind of crashes like that. And I was thinking to myself, it'd be so cool if I could see that movie entirely in black and white. And then I realized I could actually do that. It's not that hard to do. And so I did it. And it is awesome. Okay, so real quick, let's get this out of the way right away. How can you watch this movie in black and white? Let's say you just want to watch it right now in black and white. Okay, first off, you need to get yourself a copy of Van Helsing, whether it's through streaming or on DVD or Blu-ray, 4K, whatever. You gotta get yourself a copy of it. Once you do that, you pop in your player, you'll watch the opening scene like it was intended, and then once that scene's over and it's about to go to Paris, pause the movie, pull up the menu to your TV. Almost all TVs have this option. Go to the color section on your options, remember the number it's at, and turn that all the way down to 0. Voila, you can now watch the entire movie in black and white with no problems. So if you're intrigued by this, go ahead, watch it like that, and then you can come back and hear my thoughts on why I think the movie is better for being black and white. But it does kind of feel like Steven Sommers, the director of this, he wanted to kind of do this movie entirely in black and white. But let's be honest, a producer is not going to give the guy $80 million some odd dollars to make a black and white movie. Black and white style is kind of a risky proposition, and producers are worried about not getting their money back if they invest a lot of money into a movie. So it made sense that they theatrically released this in color. But honestly, if they released it in black and white, it might have done better. Because the first thing I noticed about this movie when we got away from the opening and got into Paris is, hands down, the atmosphere fits so much better in this story. This movie works so much better in black and white. The location shots, the B-roll, the large environmental expansive shots of him and his friar friend riding on horseback through the wilds of, Romania and Transylvania are outstanding in black and white. I mean, the vibe of this movie works so much better in black and white. I cannot stress this enough. It makes this movie feel like the greatest homage to the Universal monster movies that's ever been made. And you don't see that when you watch this movie in color. But in black and white, it feels like a love letter to the old Universal monster movies in the best way possible. I mean, the scene in the dark woods outside Transylvania when they're trying to kill the werewolf at the beginning looks so much better in black and white. It looks like a gothic Victorian, like, you know, masterpiece. And in color, it's mostly distracting because of all the fog. You can see all this like white fog flowing through, and the color just kind of takes something away from it. But in black and white, that scene's pretty awesome when they're trying to kill that werewolf. Yeah, the sets and locations all thrive in black and white. One of the weaker scenes is when Van Helsing is in the depths of the Vatican, and it's basically like MI6, but back in the old times, there's like the Q branch, and the scene never really worked for me. But in black and white, it's not as obnoxious anymore. It actually kind of fits, and a lot of the cheesier stuff kind of feels at home in like that 1940s black and white setting. Like, you would get kind of an exposition dump like this in a 1940s film, like you wouldn't in a 2004 film. Although we did still get that a lot, but it was a little unnatural in 2004. And like, it makes so much sense because black and white just helps put you in the right mood sets. Another huge benefit of this is CGI. CGI looks infinitely better in black and white. I mean, that is a common rule with computer graphics artists is, yeah, if you're having trouble with CGI and you need it to look a little bit better, just put it in black and white. And the black and white will take the color out, and it will kind of help the audience believe it a little bit better. And that is so true with this movie, okay? The CGI looks so much better. So much better. I cannot stress that enough. The Wolfman doesn't look like a wet plastic dog, but it looks like a ferocious creature now. Frankenberry is probably the most improved. Something I constantly joked about this movie is that Frankenstein's monster wasn't in this. Frankenberry was in it. And like, the Frankenstein monster always felt like a joke to me. I never took it seriously, and it's my least favorite Frankenstein monster ever made. But in black and white, they get rid of that stupid like green electricity after effect in him, and it just looks like electricity now in the black and white. And like, he looks a lot more intimidating. He looks a lot more monstrous. And honestly, the Frankenstein monster looks so much better in black and white than he did in color. Now, yes, he still has that really weird British accent, which makes no sense. But still, the creature looks better. The little, like, batlings in the movie don't look like little cartoon creatures in a Saturday morning cartoon, but they actually look like these creatures of the night in black and white. The black and white just really makes every lame CGI thing look so much better. And another big improvement is Hugh Jackman's CGI stunts. Hugh Jackman does do some of his own stunts, but in this movie, a lot of his stunts are completely CGI. And so they look so janky when they happen. It's just like, okay. And in this, it looks so much better. You can still notice them, but there's some really bad looking stunts that looks good now in black and white. And another surprise to me is Kate Beckinsale. I always felt like this was her worst movie because it felt like she was overacting the most in this movie, and it was just like a payday for her. But in black and white, like, her makeup artist did a good job on her makeup because her makeup really pops in a good way in black and white. And like, she feels like a 1940s starlet in this movie now that it's in black and white. And in color, it's just like, yeah, she's kind of the worst character. And this, it feels like the obligatory starlet you get in every single 1940s movie. And it, like, just overall, I enjoyed her a lot better in this black and white version that I did color. And I know, nothing changed with the editing, nothing changed with the acting, it's just color that changed. And it is such a drastic difference. And then, like, you know, there's a couple of stunts, like the stunt with what if Dracula's, like, wives giving them the infight for the exchange. Like, she does this spin thing leaving that always looks so weird to me. And now in black and white, it looks great. So, essentially, the entire movie is better in black and white. And, like, not only is this the ideal way to watch Van Helsing now, this is probably how I'm going to always watch Van Helsing from this point on. Because watching in color, it always was like a disappointment to me. Like, yeah, there's some good scenes, but overall, it's a disappointing movie. But now, I had such a blast watching this in black and white because it just felt like a universal monster movie from the 40s. And I loved it, and I recommend you try watching this in black and white. It's relatively easy to do, just don't forget where your color gauge was after the movie, because you don't want to screw that up. It might also be under saturation in your TV settings. Whatever takes color out of the image, that's where you have to change. But yeah, so that's been my experience of watching 2004's Van Helsing entirely in black and white. And it was awesome. So, my name's Christopher Connell with 11 Hour Reviews, and that will be all.